All right, I think I'm live. Welcome, guys. And by welcome, guys, I mean the 5 people that are in the chat so far. We have a few other people joining today. This is a bit of a random time. So for those who are new to the channel who don't know what this is, about once every month usually, and then it's been a whole lot less lately, I've been doing community hangouts. So if you want to get on and have a chat to me and the rest of the guys, and then I'll chuck you on an email list. So email me at intheblues@outlook.com and we can have a chat. So these chats are usually limited to 10 people, and that's not my rule. That's the YouTube rule. So we basically will just have 10 in at a time. I'm not sure how many we'll get today, but I think a few people confirmed. So we should have probably 5 people over the course of the hour or 2, however long we go for. So while we're waiting on the guys to turn up, if anyone has some questions, feel free to let me know. So I'll give some shout outs here. Let me just pop out my chat, which is cool. I noticed something else that's different too. I think YouTube have started doing this thing where if you watch the live stream back later, you'll see the chat, which is cool. So it might confuse people as to if the chat is live or not. But anyway. All right, Quicksilver, Kevin, how are you, man? Lennart, Guitar, how are you, mate? I think you're on the email list, man. Jump on. Stan Lee, is that the Stan Lee from the comic book guy? You probably get that a lot. Pete Hickson, Colin, how are you, man? We got Whiskey Boy, Matt G, Nick. What do I think about the Music Man Cutlass? I don't know if I know that guitar off the top of my head. Music Man make good stuff. I've had a chance to play a few over the years, and the last one I tested was the Axis Super Sport, kind of weird name, but really great guitar. It was awesome, actually. Matt from Oregon, how are you, man? Thanks for the kind words. I have to wake up in 4 hours, but I just wanted to stop by and say hi. Yeah. All right, cheers, man. Thanks, I appreciate that. Yeah, sorry about the weird time. I didn't take into account maybe the difference in the, what do you want to call it? The daylight savings time and all that kind of stuff had changed. So I used to do these at 10 several months ago before the time changed. So I should probably bump it up to about 12 p.m. my time next time. So next time. Have I ever tried Traynor amps? Yeah, I've owned 2 of them. I owned a YCV, I think it was 40, and a YCV 45. So I had both. Hey, we got John. How are you, man? You're inside.
How you doing, bud?
I almost didn't recognize you, mate.
Oh, that's the same track from last time, mate. Come on. 4 months and no new material?
Yeah. Well, that's it. See, when we don't do them for a while, I can get away with my crappy jokes. This is good.
Keep telling yourself that, mate.
Yeah. How's things, man?
Yeah, my things are good. How are your things?
Yeah, pretty good. Pretty good. I saw your comment come through last night, and you were right. You know, it was one of those things where I hadn't done a live stream for a while. I was going to schedule one in, and I just didn't. So thanks for the prompt. I appreciate it.
I'm glad the push worked then. I've been wondering for the past few weeks, actually, one should be coming up soon. So
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If you see me like not looking at the camera too, everyone watching, I've got all the comments just to my left, so I'm not dodging the eye contact thing. But yeah, probably looks a bit weird. I got to move everything this way a little bit more in this room. But yeah. So what's new with you? I heard you got a Harley Benton electric carbonator.
Yeah, I thought you'd ask about it, so I had it handy here.
Nice.
And I remember seeing it. Nick did a review ages ago on one.
Yeah.
And I thought, geez, that's the kind of thing I'd like to have, a bit different, and looked kind of it interested me, but of course they weren't available left-handed at the time. Yeah. And then there's this guy that does a bunch of Harley Benton videos that said he put out a video a while ago giving like an announcement of 5 left-handed models that they started to offer.
Cool.
And I was umming and ahhing. And then finally I ordered it 15 minutes to midnight on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And it arrived I arrived on the 16th of January, which is pretty good considering freight, and I know freight in Germany was all backlogged and everything like that. So it was a pretty good delivery time. And it's a good little unit.
Do you reckon it's? I was actually looking at them again last night on their website, and I thought to myself, oh, I was kind of like, do I get one of these? Do you feel it's worth the money, including shipping?
Definitely, man. Like, as far as quality goes, it's got a great sound, it's got a great feel. Very similar to one of the guitars that you did a review on recently, where you said that the frets are just a little bit poking out at the bottom.
Yeah, that's cool.
But not crazily. And I think just a quick run through will fix that.
Cool.
But it's a good feeling guitar. I'm sorry that we didn't get a chance when I was down in Melbourne last month, that I could have just thrown it your way for a few days.
Next time you're down, let us know, man. I had the craziest month. It's just been insane. That's why I kind of grew a beard. I just couldn't be.
Yeah.
I had a lot going on this month, but last month I should say. But it's getting. I've lightened the workload coming up, so it's good. So we got Mitch here as well. How are you, Mitch?
Fine. Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm finally get to meet you. I've been listening to you for quite some time now.
Oh, cool. Where are you from?
I'm in Hanover, Pennsylvania. I'm like in between Philly and Pittsburgh.
Nice.
Central Pennsylvania.
Cool. Oh, thanks for jumping on, mate. What sort of stuff do you play, or what are your interests musically? And
well, I try to play. Mainly classic rock.
Do we, mate. Yeah.
Well,
cool.
no, you're good. I mean, I love the way you play. I mean, classic rock. So I said to myself, before I retire, that's 3 years ago, I want to get try to get serious into guitar again. So I got a Stratocaster, American Stratocaster. My wife almost threw me out of the house. $1,500 or $1,400 for a guitar.
Yeah.
And she wasn't crazy about that at all. But yeah, so I've been going at it real strong. And then, I mean, there was really no reason. I mean, with all this stuff on YouTube, anybody should be able to learn how to play guitar. I mean, I don't know how good, I'm not too good, but I try.
You just got to enjoy it, man. And just keep at it, because the more you have your hands on the guitar, the easier it does get. There's no doubt about it. I'm actually trying to, I'm on a mission now to learn 50 classic rock riffs, basically.
Yeah, you're pretty much all blues, right?
Yeah, I have been for a long time. I play a lot of blues rock sort of original stuff, which is different, and a lot of other stuff as well. But mostly on my channel, I don't usually go around I don't like to tiptoe around the copyright thing. I've seen a lot of people get hammered by that on their channels, and that's something that I want to do. So most of the riffs I've been playing are my own stuff, and a lot of the new backing tracks I've just written for just in the moment kind of thing. So
you just did a review, and I can't remember, was it an amp? And it sounded awesome, and it was maybe it was the new Katana.
Yeah. Those things
I got the old one,
yeah,
which I hardly ever use. I mean, I'm just a bedroom player, but 90% of the time I'm using guitar rig. But that sounded really good to me.
Yeah, it's really good. I've just had a few people say they didn't get the link, so I'm just gonna. I don't normally do this, but because I've got my weird setup in here, I'm gonna paste it in the chat, and fingers crossed nothing bad happens.
I might suggest for people to check their spam folders, because mine, for some reason, I've turned all my filters off on my Hotmail, and for some reason it came through in my junk folder.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, I've just posted it in the chat. So if you want to join and you've seen the link and you want to click on it, just make sure you're going to pause the live video, and then also wear some headphones. If you don't have headphones, please don't join, because it'll just cause a whole lot of problems. So Steve, just try that, mate. I don't know if I actually put a title in the link, so in the actual subject of the email. I can't remember. So it might be that it might have gone to spam. So.
It says Hangout link.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. So, Landon, how are you, man? Welcome.
Hey. Hold on a sec here.
Just crank up your mic a little bit.
Another celebrity.
Are we good here? Is that working?
Yeah.
All right. I will. I'm just about to have supper, so I'll be in and out a couple times.
That's okay. No worries, man.
Just ordered some pizza.
Cool. How's your new Marshall treating you, mate?
Awesome. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, they're good fun, huh?
Yeah, really good. No regrets at all. I'm starting to well, I like it definitely more than the Peavey, but it's different though, right? Like I'm using it for different stuff. So
Yeah, Peavey's more of that sort of old school kind of sound. Yeah, tweed.
Exactly. Yeah.
A bit more mellow. I mean, they can rock as well, those things, but you know, the Marshalls just have a huge sort of smack in the face kind of sound.
Yeah. And I didn't realize the more I've gone back, the Peavey clean is just clean, like all clean. You crank it even up full, it's hard to get any breakup.
Oh wow, okay, cool.
So that's one big difference. The Marshall has, you've seen it on the it's not the clean channel, like they call it classic gain, right? So you can get some good breakup even on that, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Which model was that again?
The DSL 20 HR. It's the not a reissue, but a refreshed DSL 20 that the head that Marshall just came out with this year.
Oh, I mean the Peavey one that you're talking about, the clean one.
Oh, sorry, the Peavey, that's the classic 20 mini head.
Okay.
Yeah. John will have one tomorrow now. That's it. Done.
Actually, just to be really funny,
yeah,
I picked this up the other week. I got a Bandit.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
After all your
pan back to it for a sec.
Sorry.
Red stripe. Yeah.
It's a red stripe. It's a Chinese one, but it's funny. I saw something saying that the Chinese ones are supposed to be all the block logos, but for some reason it's got the pointy logo.
Yeah,
and it doesn't have the little badge that yours has at the bottom. Or is that
something about it looked different, and I wasn't sure what it was. Yeah,
but it's definitely only got the designed in USA under the trans tube there, which says it's not one of the made in USA ones.
I reckon if you take a closer look at the grill cloth, someone might have just taken that plastic thing off, because I think you can screw them on and off. I could be wrong actually with that model, but some of them they just have if you go down to the bottom below the speaker, is there any
no
hint okay, maybe it's a different one again.
But then again, you know how it is. Sometimes they make all different bits and pieces of them. So
has it got the speaker without the label in it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be pretty much the same one I got. The only Bandits I've ever had are Chinese ones in that series. I've actually owned the US one. I think Australia got probably more of the Asian-made ones, and I think
you're breaking up there, man.
Oh, really? My mic's not working, or?
No, just you were coming through, but it was getting. I don't know. I was hearing just a lot of crackling.
Okay. Oh,
internet.
Yeah, it could be. Australian internet sucks. All right. So well, congrats, man.
So yeah, it was a fun day that day, and then of course, being smart, instead of going straight home to play it, I popped by a music store and ended up coming home with a little parlor acoustic guitar as well.
Oh, nice. Cool. You must be. Oh, sorry.
It's addicting.
It is. It's just like if you can remember back months and months ago, all the Hangouts would come out. You say, "And John, what did you get?" And I'd say, "Oh, I got nothing for you." Next. So.
Yeah. My only purchase, at least recently, is the Marshall DSL 40. I love it. I took it out and played live with it the second day I had it, and I had a lot of fun. So it was pretty cool.
Better than the Bandit.
It's just different, like the Bandit's probably like a smoother kind of sound. The Marshall kind of knocks your teeth out. It's got one of those just a really loud. The thing I've worked out with it, it's got like 4 master volumes, which is kind of weird. So you've got like 2 master volumes overall, and then you've got channel master volumes. If you leave the overall master volumes all the way up and then run the channels lower, it sounds really, really good. So basically, I'm gonna probably take it out and play it a few more times live and see if I can get some decent footage. But it sounds great. A lot of people said the older one sounded fizzy. This one just doesn't. It sounds really, really cool. I got a video coming up of that probably in, I don't know, maybe next week or something. But yeah, I'm really surprised I hadn't played or really gotten into the Marshall thing up until recently. Testing out those Marshall heads really did it for me. I was like, man, this is cool.
I'm in the same boat. Exact same thing. Never tried a Marshall till this year.
Yeah.
something. I don't know if it was the sales or something from them. I don't know. They said they fixed something on it. They said they got rid of the spiky highs, right? And that interested me. And then I looked at the features on the 20 at least, anyways, and it just had everything that I wanted.
Oh, let's see.
And the price wasn't crazy, right? I guess that's not their most expensive line, right? The DSL is kind of like
the Origin ones will be way more expensive from what I've heard, at least in Australia. I don't know about overseas, but basically the other reason I went for one of these is because I already know how they sound, and I think they're going to be about a third less expensive than the new ones. So
I'm afraid to try one.
These ones or the Origins or both?
The Marshalls.
Yeah.
More accurately, you're afraid it'll follow you home.
Exactly. I mean, I probably have nothing compared to what you guys have, but it's addicting.
See, you're a smart man. That's probably.
I remember I had a Peavey. This is going back in the early '80s. A Peavey Deuce. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I know those.
They had the tube. It was a tube amp, and I was in my early 20s or whatever. And that thing rocked back then.
And they're one of the loudest amps Peavey ever made.
Really?
Yeah, they're 212. Yeah. I think they're 200 watts.
Yeah, it was over 100. It was 120 watts or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there we go.
I'm guessing it was so long ago, and but now I'm old now. I can't lift that. It was too heavy, and forget that.
They sound good. There's nothing wrong with the Peavey Deuce amps. Yeah, I've seen it.
I don't see too many anymore.
Yeah. Only time I see them is if people are using them live. I very rarely see them in shops, in like secondhand stores and stuff. They just don't pop up. It's probably a reason. They might be, just either harder to come by or great. People don't want to get rid of them. So, yeah. Would the DSL, this is from Thomas K, he asks, would the DSL 40 be too much for a home? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's way too loud. I reckon it's got more punch than my Blues Deluxe, and I got the most efficient speaker you can buy in that amp. So, yeah, it's way too loud to be playing at home. You can use it because it does have master volumes on it that you can turn down and get a sound at lower volumes, but it's not going to shine at lower volumes. If you're going to be using it at home, get something like 5 watt. Try the 5 watt one or something. Even that'll be louder than you expect, I bet. So, yeah, I'll take a few questions here as well as we... Hey, Jamal, how are you, man? I know he's working at the moment, so...
I just saw something on... I forget where I read it. You guys know Will's Easy Guitar channel? Apparently it's gone. It got taken down.
Part of that war that he's having with the other guy.
I haven't really followed him because I didn't really go to that channel very often,
it's if you want to see drama, that's a definition of drama. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Do we even want to talk about it? I don't know.
Oh, look, yeah, I just don't for me personally, I'm not going to sort of get involved with
you interviewed him
who's right or wrong. Oh, yeah, look, I've spoken to Will before. Absolutely. Right. And to me, he's been a nice guy. Like, I know a lot of people don't like him for whatever reason. They're either easily offended or he said something that they don't like, and that's fine. And that's the way of the world. I tend to treat people the way that they treat me, and he's been fine for me. So
yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
He's a smart guy. He is. I just think that a lot of people... He rubs a lot of people the wrong way.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not any secret there, but... it's a shame to see his channel go, but at the same time, he likes to speak his mind, and I guess, I think we've all got a friend or something that has no filter, and he might be one of those guys. He just wants to express himself, and that's how he does it, So
every other word.
I don't know anything about this other dude, and to be honest, about the 5th video in, I unsubscribed from him. I just, I didn't want to hear that. I didn't want to see that sort of stuff in my feed all the time. I don't get involved in the drama, so I don't want to be,
He's doing the same thing, the other guy.
Yeah. But then the day after, his channel was gone, so I was like, oh damn.
Well, just before it went off, he got apparently this other guy and his supporters or whatever flagged a video that he'd done, and his videos have been going up and down all the time, back and forth and this thing. He actually put one out saying that he was done with the whole thing and he was just going to not worry about it anymore. and then he got flagged again. And the last video I saw from that channel was he was just showing a screenshot where YouTube had either suspended him or something like that, and the channel was still up, but he couldn't upload for like two or 3 months, whatever. And then next day he was gone. Which his guitar related stuff is amongst the best stuff out there.
Oh, absolutely! Like if you want to,
when he's working on something, and yes, just all the baggage that goes along with it. You know, a lot of people can do without.
You know, he has potential to have or continue to grow a channel that would have done extremely well. And he had more subscribers than me, right? Like I think he
was up around the 90s.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. But you know, every time something like that happens, and he doesn't care. So this is not me criticizing him or anything. This is just stating facts. I take a good look at YouTube analytics and Social Blade stats and stuff, and he'd be losing like 50 subs a day, you know, like just because of this sort of stuff. And I kind of think to myself, like, what would happen if he just ignored it or did something privately to fix it, as opposed to, you know, ruining all that hard work he's put in for 10 years, you know. It's a shame. Like, I thought maybe having him on my channel was going to sort of maybe not help his reputation a bit, but sort of show people another side of him. And I thought it did. Like, he was well-spoken and he wasn't rude or anything like that. So I thought to myself, you know, he's a nice enough guy to me personally when I've chatted with him, but I don't chat to him regularly, but we exchange messages from time to time. But you know, it's nothing like, it's just a real shame. Like all that hard work ruined by like drama. And that's why I don't get involved with any of that stuff. Although this is kind of getting involved with it. It isn't really. Like I haven't really said anything.
It's just commentary.
I'll never do that with my channel. I'm never just going to publicly go out and after someone, even if they've done something terrible. I'll take it up with YouTube or Acorn or somewhere, you know, somewhat like, which is we have a thing.
Shane, are we live?
We are, yep.
Oh, I wouldn't have said anything at all. I forgot. I wouldn't have brought it up at all.
Hey, no, you're right. I think Landon brought it up, didn't he?
Oh, yeah, blame Landon.
That's all right.
What did I do?
Nothing. I mean, nothing.
Okay.
But I just saw.
I can't remember who brought it up, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I brought it up. Sorry. Now I got to run.
Okay, cool, man.
I'll just inject some controversy and nick off now.
Yeah, sure.
But there's some people in here. I don't see how you could say a bad word. Philip McKnight. This guy, he is absolutely awesome. There's so many, and then there's other people though. Yeah, I don't want to. I don't understand the drama. There's a couple other people do stuff too, but without saying any names.
Yeah, you know what? Because the guitar industry is boring, like people like drama. I mean, look at all the most popular, TV shows and all that. That's, I don't watch TV anymore, but a lot of people that watch TV will watch reality shows because of the drama and all that kind of stuff. And these are people that they feel they know and, they've been watching for years, on sometimes anyway, not all the time. So I think there's a certain, there's that. I said to Will when I interviewed him years ago, I said, your channel's kind of like the guilty pleasure for me in a way. Like I've got, if we look at a rainbow or whatever, a spectrum, like I feel like your channel's on one side and mine's kind of on the other about how we deal, how we do stuff. So it's just one of those, it's a funny sort of thing where, people just sort of eat that stuff up for whatever reason. They like to take sides and they like to argue and, I don't know. It's just human nature, maybe. I'm not too sure.
And the shame of the thing is, too, is that, one of the very last videos he put up on that channel was like, I'm not doing this anymore. That's it.
Yeah.
And he created, he said, I've created another channel like Will Gelvin Super Troll. He's going to put all these troublemaker videos onto there. He actually uploaded some of his older ones as well. And he said, from now on, Will's Easy Guitar is just guitar. And then whoop, it went. And his other channel where he does like the cooking and the do-it-yourself type sort of stuff is still up, and it's that's good too. But man,
what's interesting? All these great guitar players, you guys online. A lot of you guys are in the IT field. Am I wrong? It seems like that. It seems that way.
Yeah, I used to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Steve, Lewis.
Right. And exactly. I mean, I'm a wannabe. I mean, I just do stuff on my own, but yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Just wanted to say I've also resent the link to Steve. I'm pretty sure I've sent that to you, mate. So just try it again. See if you can click it and join in. I'm pretty sure I sent that to your email address. I just want to double check. Yeah, it's on the way. It's going to your AIM email account. So I'm not sure why that didn't come through because everyone else got it, which is odd. But yeah, IT seems to be, I think, you know what it is? Like, I got interviewed from reverb.com the other day. And
Really?
I was sort of chatting like a little bit about YouTube and why this kind of suits a lot of IT guys. Is to some extent, it wasn't. I didn't get into it a lot, but you kind of have to have some technical knowledge to do it well, even if it's just like your ability to learn and understand programs and, you know, and to get the most out of whatever software you're using and understanding how to hook stuff up. And, you know, that some of that's like audio side of it as well. But I think like people with some sort of technical knowledge, it's a lot easier for people. Like I'm like, all right, I got all these cables. How do I make this work? All right, I need one of these or whatever. So just basic troubleshooting stuff comes in handy when you're doing videos or like a production background, of course. But yeah.
It's like right now I'm going through, I just bought a cheap HD Canon camera, the HR800.
Cool.
But how do I get that into the computer? I had to buy a HDMI adapter, and you know and they go from something cheap to hundreds. I said I'm not spending. So I spent $75 on this thing, and it works.
Cool. Yeah, it looks and sounds fine. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's one of those things. Like I started a tech sort of channel as well where I review other types of stuff because I'm kind of good with things like just electronics and cameras now. Cameras is, you know what, I've worked out, like the camera industry is a lot like the guitar industry. You get way too like consumed with it once you start learning about it. And it all comes down to how you use it at the end of the day, you know, much like how guitars kind of operate. So it's like a black hole of stuff. You know, my inclination was, I got to get more cameras. And I'm like, no, I don't need more cameras. The same thing. Like I need more guitars. I don't need more guitars either, but. Yeah.
But you'll get
it.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I'll show you guys something. Yeah, I had a lot of people ask me like, where's my Telecaster gone? Because I haven't been playing it for a while. So basically it was unplayable like for a while. I was choking out and doing all kinds of stuff, but the action looked pretty good. But we've got, I ended up having to pack the nut on the high E because it basically worn down flat to the fretboard almost in that gap. So I used this trick I got from StewMac. It's baking soda and super glue. And I packed it in there and cut it again, and it's fine. So I shot a quick little video on that as well. So it actually plays really well. Only problem is now I've got about, well, a kilogram or 2 pounds extra of baking soda I'm never going to use. But
no, use it, man. It's got thousands of uses.
Yeah, I've been told.
You haven't got Google. Look it up.
I need to work out what that stuff actually does. But yeah, it was a great little fix. I was like, I could just replace the nut, which I've never done before either, or I could try this. So I went to the supermarket, got all the stuff I needed apart from the file, and yeah, it worked.
I was going to ask you, do you do your own setups and all? And
to a point, I can replace pickups, and I sometimes don't get that right, but generally I can do most basic setups. That kind of had me stumped. I never thought to check the nut. And I took it to a mate of mine, Brian, who had a look at it. And he goes, oh, yeah, they're all pretty good except for this one. And he's looking at it and trying to adjust it. Then he looked at the nut. And he goes, oh, your nut's shot. So I thought, all right, I'll have to get that sorted out. But, yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm not that scared of just doing like a truss rod adjustment. If I can see that it needs to be done, I don't just do it because I think it might help. But I need to be able to visually see it. If it looks wrong, I'll give it a go and see if I can fix it. You can't really break much. That's the thing. But changing pots and all that, I can do all that easy. I got a soldering iron and I get into that and I've learned a little bit every year since I started playing, just a little bit.
I was afraid to do stuff like that. I just bought right before Christmas. I got the PRS SE Custom 24. I got it from Sweetwater. It was just like a spur of the moment thing, and so I get it, and they say they do all this stuff with it, but it was just didn't seem like it was tuned right. So I took it to the local guy, and it's really, really, really good now. But I was just afraid to mess with it myself. Didn't want to take any chance.
No, well, fair enough. Especially with a new guitar too. If it's got something different that you're not used to or whatever, it can be a bit daunting. Like when I got my PRS, the only thing I had to do to this, and the only thing that I've done to it, is tighten up the tuners, the little screws that go on the, actually in the peg, or not the peg.
Hold the button on.
Yeah. That was it. They were just way too easy to turn. So every time I put it in the case, basically the tuners would move and then it would be right out of tune. But since I did that, I didn't tighten them up ridiculously tight, but it's much, much better now. I haven't got any problems with tuning on this. I can use the whammy bar on it, which is new for me too, and it just stays in.
Yeah, I never touch a whammy bar, never.
Yeah, I didn't until this either. All right, we're gonna have to kick someone. No, Steve's off again. That's all right. He's gone. That's all right. We'll. All right, Steve, you there?
Hey guys.
Hey, how are you, mate?
Okay, we're in the midst of a bit of a snowstorm here. We got our typical late winter nor'easter going, and it's just playing hell with a few things. And you sent this link to my AIM account, which for some reason or other was offline, and I had to just go back and look at my passwords and stuff, and there it was. I'm like, okay.
The weird thing was, like, when I sent the link through earlier, I sent it from a different computer, and I think my list on this computer might not be the right one, so I'm always trying to fix this stupid list. It's getting there. But yeah, welcome back, mate. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How's everybody? How you, John?
All good, man. How you doing, man? Now it's a hangout. Now that you're here, no offense to the other guys, but
yeah.
Mitch, Steve, Mitch.
Mitch, how you doing, bud?
Fine. How are you? Where are you at, Steve?
I'm in Jersey.
Okay. You're not too far. I'm in Hanover, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
We just got the wind. We got the wind. We're not having the snow.
No, we got the rain and the snow and several inches of rain, and then it turned into snow, and it's just a nightmare out there. I mean,
the wind is going to be really bad. You're going to get it too.
The wind has been bad all day. It's there's been just a few blocks away from me, a tree blew over into somebody's electric lines, and they don't have any power.
Oh my!
It's
no
just
power in that sort of weather's no fun, I bet.
Oh God, yeah, really. This is the bad time of year to run out of nothing. So, and anyhow, other than that, Shane, you must be getting to your end of summertime there, huh?
You know what? It just keeps on going. I know I've got this on right now, but I was at the beach yesterday. I went outside today. It's nice and warm again, so it's probably in the high 80s your temperature here today, which is pretty nice for this time of year.
How bad are your winters, Shane?
Nothing to whinge about. They're fine. It gets down to freezing point almost where I live, so just above it. But sometimes if I go, because I play guitar up on a mountain that's several hundred feet above everywhere else, and it can snow on there occasionally, and it can get down to just below the freezing point, but they're not too bad here. There's nothing like I went to Boston one year, and it started snowing in the city, and that never happens where I live. And I shouldn't whinge about it. And where John lives is even better.
It doesn't change here.
Yeah.
I spend 9 months of the year with my balcony door open. Like, I live on the 9th floor, so no one's gonna. If Spider-Man wants to jump in and steal a guitar, well, then I figure no worries. But
hey, John, you want a neighbor?
For the what?
you want a neighbor?
Yeah, sure, man, anytime. But I'm only going to be here for a few more months. I'm heading back down to my hometown where Shane is.
We'll do some guitar search Saturdays together, man. We'll go have a look around.
Yeah. Well, I want to do the ones up here if you get any responses.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I still haven't emailed the guys yet, but I will. So hang in there. I'll CC you in anyway. Whenever I email them,
All right, that'll be good.
You'll get an email as well. So,
well, like I said, the day.
Oh, sorry, John. Go ahead.
No, go for it. Go for it.
Oh, I just saw Kerry pop up. How are you, mate?
Very good. It's been a while.
That's good. Yeah, it has. You're based in Canada, is that right?
Yeah. Yep. Just north of Toronto. Just
awesome. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got people almost representing from everywhere today. This is good. Thanks for joining in, man.
Yeah. Actually, I can't stay too long. I have something I have to go to. We're doing a open mic up in Stouffville.
Oh, cool.
I don't know if you ever heard of that place.
No. I haven't, but maybe the other guys have.
we broke a world record in March for the longest concert by multiple artists.
Yeah, what was the length?
18 days.
Oh.
24 hours a day. 18 days. So I did a live stream for those 18 days too.
Wow. How much data does something like that use? That's the nerd in me asking. Sorry.
1 terabyte. Actually, we had to send 1 terabyte of video to the Guinness people.
Yeah.
It was an interesting time.
Just so folks know, too, after the live stream's done, I'll chuck a link to Kerry's YouTube channel on the video, or in the description, so you can check it out if you're into live music. He posts a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, we have some young girls, a duo called Moscow Apartment tonight.
Cool.
They're going to be starting about 9 o'clock. So
let me ask you, you an 18-day music festival. What sort of location handles something like that? Where was that hosted?
It was a bar called Earl of Whitchurch.
Okay, cool.
So it had 2 levels. The bar was on the main level, and on the second level, it's all open like restaurant area. So we were surprised it handled it. We weren't sure, but we were able to do it.
Yeah, the reason I asked, because I figured maybe a pub. I know what pubs are like here. There's noise restrictions and all these kind of problems, but that's great. I think that's congrats on that. That's crazy. 18 days.
We had a lot of help from the town too. They were pretty. They're pretty easy with things that were going on.
Yeah.
So the police were stopping every once in a while, so they were enjoying it.
Cool.
18 days at a bar. That must have been a hell of a hangover.
Well, luckily I don't drink, so it made it easy for me.
Yeah.
It was a sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
I thought you were working today, Jamal. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just been here all day. Just trying to make it. Kind of got a little under the weather, but other than that, I'm good. I got a full 16-hour day today, so if I had known you were going to do this today, I would have went home today. I went home on time. I get off at 1 p.m. When I saw the email this morning, I'm like,
yeah, sorry
how's
about
everybody
that.
doing?
I realized how long it had been once John commented. I didn't think it was as long as it was, so I was like, all right, we're going to start doing these more. I keep saying that, but we'll schedule another one in, and hopefully today, and we'll do it again soon. Well, I'll actually bump it back a day. So tomorrow, unfortunately, I was going to be busy, like out of the house doing family stuff, and then today I was like, this is probably the only day it's going to work, because I got a lot of other stuff coming up on the channel, every day. So
your channel's been doing great. So I mean, I love it.
Thanks, man.
Everything you've been doing. You got auditions. The collaboration with Sky Music has made the difference. You show so many different so much different gear. Marshall. A lot of them. But now you got one. You're doing all these reviews. It's awesome.
Thanks, man. I think I caught most of that. You're breaking up a little bit, but yeah.
Oh, am I?
A little bit.
I said, how about now? Am I a little better now?
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, I'll just say, I know y'all were talking about the drama on other channels, which we won't get into anymore.
The drama.
It's refreshing to talk about guitar stuff, because that's what we're all here for.
Yeah,
we want to hear about gear and stuff we can spend our money on. To pretend we're 20 years younger than what we are.
Yeah.
And if Shane would only stop driving up the prices.
Yeah, I've been guilty of that with the Peavey stuff, I think. But your collection's great, Jamal. I mean, I see your photos on Instagram and stuff, and you got a really great collection of you're a little bit silent in your admissions, I think, mate. You got more stuff than probably me almost.
Well, yeah, I kind of went a little Strat crazy, and I had to kind of not lie, but misrepresent how much I paid for most of that stuff. And I'm still waiting for my PRS. They were supposed to come out on the 27th. Now they bumped it back to May 1st.
Man, I could have taken a boat from here to your place. And it would have got there quicker.
Yeah, yes, you can. And it's that color. It's that color, and it doesn't matter if it's right-handed or left-handed. It's that Trampus green. Like they have the, I think the brown one, the sunburst one. Those are stock all over the place. But the Trampus green one and the blue one, they're the ones that are hard to find.
Yeah.
Every time they say they're going to have them, they don't. It's just kind of frustrating. But.
I'll tell you something that I noticed too. Like on mine, they wired this up like your Gibson, right? So to turn the volume on is backwards compared to a Strat.
I hate that.
Yeah, on the new ones that I've tried of these, which are not new, they're just the same range, but more recent ones, they go the other way.
Really?
Yeah, so on's forward like a Strat. I was like, why am I getting no sound out of this guitar? And then I was like, so I've got it's the opposite. So let me know which way your pots roll when you get it, man, because it's interesting that the newer ones than this seem to go the opposite way. So I don't know what they're doing.
The top
Did you
is
just say you were getting sorry.
No, I was going to say the top's the volume, the bottom's the tone, right? On those. On
yeah,
mine too. Yeah, that's how mine is. Yeah.
So yours roll back. Oh, are you left or right-handed? Sorry, I didn't ask.
I'm right-handed.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so your tone, everything would roll forwards on yours as on. Okay. I'm pretty sure. So they're doing that now with the lefties, which isn't common for left-handed guitars. A lot of lefty guitars on is backwards compared to what you'd be used to. So, but PRS, I think they might have changed it around, or maybe I just bought a weird one. So,
Jamal, did you say you bought a right-handed one or a left-handed one?
I bought a left-handed one.
Oh, cool.
I bought a left-handed, yeah, because I was like, when I got that Strat, it was great that it came through the mail, but I got to get some other restraint because I just don't feel like flipping the nut and doing all that jazz. And it was nice when I got my Les Paul. Hey, I could play it right when I got it, So, yeah. I think I'm going to get a few more left-handed guitars. I might even get a left-handed Strat one day. Maybe.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, man, that 50s vintage American one that I played or whatever it's called, everyone's telling me to buy that. I'm like, I can't do it. It's arguably the best Strat I've ever played, ever. It is really, really nice. It's a big call.
I saw your video on that, and I don't know if you caught my text on it. You may remember that the red Strat that I was showing a year or so ago, maybe.
Yep.
It. At first, I thought it was the same guitar, but that's an American made, and mine is a Mexican.
Okay, cool.
But when I was watching you play it, I'm like, I think that's the same guitar as I have, just in white instead of red.
Yeah.
Plus, I took the neck off of that, and I put a dark neck on it. I put a walnut one on it. Nice.
Cool. Yeah, that was a great guitar. Actually, I'm just gonna have to mute somebody here. I'm not sure.
It might be me. Sorry.
That's all right.
Might be a little better now.
Yeah, that's okay.
A little quieter.
That's right. As long as you don't hear the jet engines, man, we'll be good.
Yeah, I'm inside.
No, it's fine. I've got my controls open here, so don't stress. Yeah, it was just a great guitar. Like the neck was nice. Did yours, Steve, have like hum canceling positions at all? Because this one didn't. Yeah. It was all buzz. Yeah. It was all buzzy the whole way through, like the full-blown vintage wiring.
The position 2 and 4 is supposed to be, or what people refer to as hum canceling, and it does make a little less noise in position 2 and 4. But when you've got 1, 3, and 5 going on, where you have just the pickups all by themselves, they do hum a little bit. But they are, mine is a 50s Strat, so I mean it's wired that way,
Yeah.
When you get the things from that area, the buzz is just just part of the aura.
So we'll go around the tape.
I have a 2015 American Deluxe Strat. It's got the noises, and it's got the humbucker. at the neck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean the bridge.
The bridge.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, there's something to be said about the Fender humbuckers. Like I never really played a lefty up until well, I played a Squire one recently, but they're pretty cool, man. Like they got a good amount of snap to the sound. They don't sound too dark or you know, muddy like some humbuckers can. I reckon they're pretty cool. But yeah, I was going to go around and ask. You know, maybe we'll start with Kerry here and see if we'll go around and see who's picked up anything new since we last spoke. I know it's probably been about 2 years since I spoke to Kerry. So, you any new gear on your side of the world, mate?
Well,
oh my God, look at this!
Oh my God,
that's
gonna be the thumbnail.
That's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah.
Big time.
That's a good problem.
Yes. Well, the thing is, I don't really play. I'm just taking lessons now. There's a local guy. He's really good at fingerstyle. He does a lot of the Django Junkie stuff,
Cool.
or the Django Reinhardt stuff. Well, they call it the Django Junkies or Django Junkies. So
Sounds like a mouthful.
it is. It is.
You might need a few more guitars, man. I reckon just a couple more. You got some space on the floor there. Just
I did
More
just buy a
Strats.
PRS. I did get a PRS similar to yours, but
There's Lando.
Hi.
it was a local musician here. Got it from.
cool.
Okay.
What color did you get?
It was the blue one.
Oh, yeah, I actually think that looks pretty nice. I saw one for the first time in person. Good choice. Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Landon.
Hi.
You doing, bud? Listen, I just wanted to clarify something that maybe that I said on your site the other day when you were showing the Marshall head, and I asked where it was printed, and you said it was made in Vietnam. You know, I hope you didn't misunderstand. You know what I said from that.
Oh, that was you. Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure if it was a joke or not.
No, man. Unfortunately, I got sucked into that whole Southeast Asia thing back then, and so you know.
No problem.
You know,
No, I didn't know it was you. That's fine.
When people say Vietnam, it just tightens my jaw. So
I don't care.
that's my problem. I just hope you didn't think it was somebody just being a knucklehead or
No.
Yeah, don't worry, Steve. We're used to the way you are, mate.
Yeah, you should be used to me by now. Come on.
Yeah.
No, that's fine.
The thing you learn is when you do a YouTube channel, you hear it all, you see it all, and it's really easy to take stuff out of context. I took something out. John made a joke the other day. I had a really bad day. I had a really bad day. Like it was just not on YouTube, like outside of YouTube. Just had a horrible day, stressful. And John made a comment, and I read it as him having a go at me, and he was cracking a joke. I made a spelling error, right? And he wrote a joke, something like, "I can't believe with today's technology, you'd still make an error," and he spelled error wrong or something like that.
Totally. Said, there's no excuse for tie-ops.
Tie-ops. Yeah. That's it. And I was like, it's just so easy to sort of misinterpret stuff when you're So I'm guilty of that. Don't worry about it.
And the funny thing is, he fired back at me and went off, and I'm thinking, he's going on with it, and I'm reading it again and go, oh no. He's actually upset.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
It was confusing, like because of where I was that day. I was like, I can't believe this guy's had a go at me. Like, and then when I read it again, I'm like, of course he hasn't. I'm an idiot. Yeah. So don't worry about it.
Then I sent him another message. I said, mate, read the last line again.
No, I felt like crap after that. I apologized to you straight away. But,
and the funny thing too was, like, I said to myself. And it happened sort of kind of once before when thinking that you get the way I am and the humor and like that, when you're at Jerry's and you put up a picture of your shirt and I sort of fired back to him, oh, we don't follow your channel for your shirts, more guitars. Yeah, and actually someone else started going, you sir, are an idiot.
I didn't even remember that, man.
I was someone else. You didn't write it, someone else. And then I thought, well, I'm not going to start a war of words on someone else's channel. So I backed up. But after this typo thing, I said, I think I really upset him. I'll just go quiet for a while. And like the next 3 posts or videos like that you put up had typos in them. And I thought, this bastard's baiting me.
Yeah. No, it was.
But all good, man. All good.
No. So yeah, it was just sometimes you take stuff out of context and the context is a joke. And it's like, you just feel like you know, you just have some of those days where you're just not in the mood, and then like you get the wrong comment at the wrong time, and you're like, God damn, I put all this work in, and then someone's going to belittle me for a typo that I rarely make on a video. And I fix them straight away if I see it. Like usually I upload at night, so I'm typing the titles before I go to bed, go to sleep, and it's uploaded the next day. And if I'm doing it the right way, I double check stuff, but sometimes I don't, and I just assume I spell everything correctly. But yeah, I should make that assumption. Yeah. Hey, we got
sorry, guys. I gotta go.
All right, Kerry, take it easy, man.
Kerry.
Thanks for
See you later, Kerry.
Take it easy.
Take care, man.
Anyway, I've learned my lesson. No more jokes with Shane.
No.
Just don't bitch at a spelling. That's all.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing when you write. You know, it all comes down to the person's frame of mind when they read whatever they're reading and how they're going to take it. And I'd say I'm pretty. I've heard it all. People have called me every name under the sun on YouTube over the last 10 years or so. But yeah, sometimes you're just not in the mood and you're like, what? I can't believe it. Especially if you think you kind of know someone too. That's the weirdest part. And then I should have just read it again. That would have solved the problem. But anyway. Yeah.
And I thought the same thing. I'm thinking, this guy should know me.
Yeah. No, it's just one of those moments. But so we've got someone new here too. I think, is it Guitar Rev? Everyone. There we go. Sorry, I didn't see that.
Hi, Shane.
How you doing?
Not too bad.
I've seen his face before.
I've been on once before.
Yeah, what was your first name? Sorry.
Guitar Everyone, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Guitar Everyone. There we go. You're from?
I'm from Newfoundland, Canada.
Oh, okay. Canadian.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can't trust those Canadians.
Yeah, the Canadians are almost out. Oh, I've got two from everywhere. Two from the States, two from Australia, two from Canada. Or Canada, as they like to be called. Canada. That's a good one.
Landon.
Yeah.
Billy D. Williams. That was
Billy
me.
D. Williams.
I'm the one that got it. I don't know if anybody else commented. When you, I don't know, you did that subliminal, whatever. I forgot what you. I thought you forgot what you were reviewing. And what's it? What? Am I saying things?
That was you, okay. Yeah. Once in a while, I like to just do stupid
Oh, it's
things.
good.
I'll put in not even a 1 second frame of Billy D. Williams when I say Lando or something, and it'll just to see if anybody's watching.
I was.
A lot of times, like I do it myself, I'll put on a YouTube video and I'm not watching it. I'm just listening to it, right? I'm doing something. You don't always want to watch it, but so I just put that in there for fun.
No, I see those spliced images. You're probably doing that with Pepsi and stuff too, man. Because yeah, I got that from Fight Club. I don't know if you guys remember that movie from like 1999.
So Brad Pitt or something.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah,
they were
Brad
doing that
Pitt,
with him.
Edward Norton.
Right? Yeah.
I just want to give a shout out to our Metal Stage podcast. So welcome, guys. They have a pretty much almost daily guitar podcast on YouTube. It sounds like it's just metal stuff, but they talk about everything. So check them out if you like audio podcasts and stuff. They do similar thing to what we're doing here. Or we're doing a similar thing to what they do over there, whatever. But they're relatively new. They're getting a good amount of traffic. So
hello.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh. I thought I was still at work.
Not me. I'm on my phone.
No, I don't know whose that is. That's all right. So yeah, check out their YouTube channel, guys. If you're into guitar talk stuff, they're doing some good stuff. I think they asked me if I wanted to be a guest on there, and I said I'm gonna have to change my username on YouTube to something else before I jump on there, but in the middle or something. But I'll get a big black wig and I should be good. Wear some black.
Shane, just do that getup that you did when you did the video with all the pedals were making all the strange noises. You had like a watch cap and black sunglasses on.
Yeah.
Just do that. We're the only ones that will know you.
That's all those pedals deserved, man, was that video in the end. They kept pushing me, and I'm like,
I got to tell you, I still laugh when I think about that video. You just tickled the hell out of me with that.
Yeah, I learnt my lesson that day about dealing with companies. I had another company really pushing me for my time recently, and I told them, like, you can take the stuff back. I'm not interested. Your pedals aren't going to do anything for my channel. Like, I'm doing you a favor. If you want me to rush them through, you can have them back, you know. And they were a similar sort of brand to that Oral Dream brand. So I just went, you know what, I'm not interested. You can have a courier come get them, or I'll use them as a doorstop or something. You know, like you gotta, you know, you can't just. I like to demo as much stuff as I can because it helps the reach of the channel. I know a lot of channels won't demo cheap stuff, but I found that really helped me over the years as well. But yeah, there's
cheap pedals are good too.
The which one? Sorry.
There are a lot of cheap pedals that are very good. I mean, the Joyo stuff is really good.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Joyo, the Kalen stuff's good. We've got. Sorry, whose phone's that?
That's mine.
It's the company.
I'll just
God Almighty.
Just bring Steve down for a minute. Yeah, so there's a lot of good cheap stuff
Steve,
out there.
why won't you answer?
I think in the early days, like the channel was built on more budget demos to some extent. So I still like to throw them in. I still see people comment like, "Oh, thanks for still demoing like cheap stuff." I'm like, yeah, well, there's an audience for everything. I don't want to just be a boutique guy. I reckon that does a bit of a disservice for an audience just to demo like stuff no one can afford. Or I wouldn't go out and buy half the expensive stuff I demo, you know. But there'd be some guys out there that ride into it, and vice versa with the cheap stuff too.
And this is great. I mean, there's great mid-price pedals. I mean, even low price, like the Boss Blues Driver is a great pedal. The Boss OD1 is a great pedal. I got boutique stuff. I got Wampler, but I mean, there's a lot to be said for like the Joyo. I mean, I got onto the Joyo American Sound by listening to your demo you had.
Yep.
You put on there. I found it great. Even as a preamp type of pedal in front of your amp.
Yeah.
It just gives it more clean sustain and great as a booster.
No, they're really good. I mean, a lot of guys I've seen recently have been using them in the effects loop as well, which is of their amp. I never got to try that actually with mine, but they're really great. Like Joyo just make good stuff. Like and there's another one that I really like, which I did demos for, called Sonic Cake, which are kind of like those mini pedals. They make arguably some of the best tones in terms of delay and just dirt, and the distortion pedal was good as well. And they look cool too. I mean, for their price, man, you can't go wrong. There's a lot of really great stuff out there.
What's it? You still find the raw?
Sorry,
you still find the raw flush? You still find the raw flush?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to try that one.
Yeah, the two that I'm using the most at the moment, the Royal Flush and the Carrera Overdrive, the Buffalo Effects one from France. That is unreal. Like those two together work really well. Actually on my board, I've got the Pride of Texas pedal. I gave that a shot live the other week. That is so loud. It's such a loud pedal. Far out. Like wait till your neighbors get a sample of that, Jamal. Well, I know you got one on the way.
Yeah, I'll hook that up to that Marshall. That's gonna really
that'll
make a lot of noise.
What is that one again?
The Pride of Texas from Dan Electro.
Oh, really? That's not very expensive, is it? Shouldn't be.
No, I think they sell for about like $80
or 90
US something.
Great. Write that down.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, I had more fun demoing that pedal than I've had. Like it probably visibly showed. Like I usually try to keep my intro tracks around a minute and 20 seconds or something like that. I jammed for 5 minutes on that pedal at the start. I ended up chopping it down, but it was.
That's what sold me on it.
I was like, man, how great is this?
Opening jam was like, I was like, man, those tones. He sounds like Stevie.
Oh, yeah, it does that sound. It does that sound. It's great, man.
So it's based on a Tube Screamer?
No.
No?
It's. I think I got it over here. Maybe not. I'm doing a new pedal board video. I got all this stuff I'm going to put on this new board. I don't know where I've left it. It's kind of like it's just a really edgy overdrive with a bass and treble control, so you can kind of scoop the sound a little more or shape it a little more, I should say. But it's got a really like present kind of punch to it that a Tube Screamer is a more sort of soft and round sound. This just, I mean, you can get a warm sound out of this as well. I'm not saying it's not a warm pedal, but it sort of hits you in the face. It's a really good sound. I like it.
Yeah. I like the fact that it's not like a Tube Screamer because there's just so many of those out there.
Yeah. Well, that's it.
I have several.
Yeah.
Tube Screamer types. I don't have the real Tube Screamer, but I mean, I got the Clarksdale, my Wampler, Some of the bass stuff kind of emulates a blues driver or a two streamer. Sorry.
So
I like Boss pedals.
Yeah, Boss pedals are fine.
Blues driver is great.
I think the thing that people like dismiss Boss about is just how they've never changed the look of their pedals, which I kind of like. They look so like just generic almost in a way visually, but they're great. Like they
extremely rugged.
Well, they look generic because they were the first ones pretty much, and everyone's copied them.
Yeah, that's it. No, they make good stuff. I mean, I really love their DD7 digital delay. I mean, I could go on for.
I just got that one actually.
Oh, there you go. Cool.
Oh,
Look at the book it comes with.
Yeah.
I guess it's got everything.
6 months.
Well, it's got 8 languages in it, but yeah, you don't really need the book. But
no,
I like the analog delay setting on that.
yeah, it has analog. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The one thing it's missing, I used to have the DD6, and it had something called warp, where you could hold down the pedal and then get these crazy sounds. Blow up your speaker. I think they got rid of that.
Oh.
That
Crazy sounds out of a pedal. Sounds like it's right up your alley, Shane.
yeah, that's it. That one's actually got like a.
Has a hold. It has a looper in it.
Yeah, looper,
yeah,
basically.
A looper. I didn't realize that, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Man, they're just really great pedals, and they're dead quiet too. You turn it on, you don't even know it's on. Yep.
Guys, I'll be back in just a minute.
No worries. Cool. Yeah, so definitely check out the Pride of Texas. I think it's one of the best overdrives of the year for me. I don't know what year did I demo that? I think I demoed it last year. I put it in the top.
No.
So, I don't know. Anyway, but there it is. It's right. Oh no, is that it? Yeah, maybe it is.
Too much stuff.
I mean,
Dan Electro actually shipped me a couple of guitars at Lefty to do some videos for. So I'm like blown away by that. They said some really kind things about my videos. So they were like, yeah, man, well, as soon as we get this, they had to change from rosewood to Power Ferro on their fretboards to make the shipping to Australia easier and wherever else they ship. So they've done that, and they said, we're going to we'll send you a couple. Which ones do you want? So I picked a couple that I thought were going to just be different to what I got. Well, one's kind of similar. I grabbed the Strat with the lipstick pickups that everyone else seems to have because I figure I've never played a guitar with those pickups before.
How did you find it?
Oh, no, Dan Electro is sending it to me just...
Oh, I see.
Yeah, from them. So you can go to... I think their website has them all listed, which is where I saw them. And there's another one that's got like a P90 neck pickup and a humbucker-style bridge pickup. I thought, yeah, this looks weird enough to kind of work. So we'll see how they go. Anyway, I mean, I'll do what if they're good, I'll use them on future videos, and if they're not, I won't have them for very long. But I'm sure they'll be good. Everyone else that I've seen, this is the one trapping of the YouTube thing. You know, you get sent something and you're kind of grateful for it, and at the same time you're excited because it's there, and then it kind of can throw people's judgment on how good something is. But I reckon if you've seen me hold on to something for a while, or if I buy something that I demo that I say I like that guitar or the amp or the Bandit still in my collection or whatever, then that's the test. Unless you're, of course, the Tone King who just hoards everything that he buys.
He has everything.
Man.
Yeah, he's
got a wall of amps he has back there.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go, Shane, for the Strat that was it the 50 Strat that you demoed there? I thought you might have I thought you were going to buy that one.
You know, the thing was, I recently just upgraded all my camera equipment. Oh, not all of it all at once, but over time. So I've been sort of like getting through paying off all of that kind of stuff as well. So, and I just bought another amp. So I was like, geez, man, like, what am I doing? I'm getting into this trap again. Like that for me to get my sound, I can get it out of my Bandit. I can get it out of my Blues Deluxe or whatever. I didn't need another amp, but I could justify the whole Marshall thing because it's just that little bit different. I was getting bored. There was one day I started shooting a delay pedal video, this one here, actually. And I plugged in and I just went, I'm so bored of this sound. And I'm sure everyone else is bored of this sound on my channel too, or maybe not. But I just went, I got to get something different now. So Yeah, the Marshall kind of fills a couple of needs for me. I can take it live, but also use it for these videos. And
well, Shane, speaking of a new
another
sound,
Strat. Sorry, yeah.
Speaking of a new sound, I came across this thing the other day, and when I saw it, it just shouted your name to me because
I'm not sure I can see that. What's going on?
Please remain calm.
There we go.
Oh,
I'm always on the lookout for new. You like the original one the best?
Oh yeah, the original was the best. Because it
All
scared
right.
the crap out of everybody.
So many people whinged about that. So many people were like, "Oh, you got to turn that alarm." I kind of like the new one's kind of funny in a way. It's a bit different.
It is.
But the original one was definitely you like all the animals in the house just scatter and. Yeah. Hey Pat, how are you, man? Welcome back.
Good, man. You? Yeah.
How you going?
Good now. I've had a meal, so I'm all right.
That's all right. Thanks for joining in, man.
Yeah, good to be back. It's been a while.
Yeah. So you got to fill us in on the whole super reverb thing that's going on, man. Yeah, I've been following you on Instagram, obviously, and Facebook and stuff. So
yeah, it's funny. It's easy to fall into gas. It's easy to believe that you will only ever achieve the tone that you want to achieve if you reach that holy grail of whatever piece of equipment you think that is.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, so for me, for 20 years, it was a super reverb. I went and bought one, and after hauling around something that weighs as much as a Honda Civic for the last 2 years, and realizing that, surprisingly enough, I don't need the loudest combo amp ever made in my living room or in small mic club gigs. I've decided to go something with a little bit less wattage, so moving away from the Super, getting a Supersonic 22 head and combo, cabinet. So
yeah, you did that the right way. The 22 and a 212, or even in a did you get the 212 box? Did you say?
Yeah.
That's a better combo than the 22 watt into a single 12. It's going to be way bigger sounding, as you know, of course, but that's more the benefit of people listening, not to you know.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
That's great. And that was the big thing, is that, you know, with the Super, you have this massive sound that I never remotely got close to actually working. If anybody who's ever owned a 65 Super Reverb Blackface reissue knows that unless the volume's at like 5 or 6, it's not even working.
No, exactly.
And they also know that at 5 or 6, your neighbors that live about 3 blocks away are calling the cops because they're making so much noise.
Those amps are just so loud at home.
The Blackface Twin.
Yeah, our Twin. Yeah.
They sound great at 5. I think that's the thing with the Super Reverb that I worked out too. They sound great with everything at 5, but any lower they don't sound good, and any higher they don't sound good.
And that's the thing.
There's that real sweet spot with them. And then if 5 isn't loud enough, it ends up sounding like, at least I could get it. I got that amp up past 5 a few times, right? Not at home, but And I kind of found like it struggled once you pushed it too hard, much like a deluxe reverb does. You kind of get that sweet spot, and then if it's not enough, you're kind of going to struggle. But which is crazy. Freaking loud.
Yeah, you know, and that was the thing, right? Like the loudest the gigs that I've played with it, the loudest I ever had the volume was like 3.5, 4. And the loudest I ever had the amp was I cranked it to 7 when I was in the recording studio last summer. And it was just deafening. It was so loud. And then I bring it home, and I've got a quaint little home with neighbors that live downstairs, and I'm like, I don't necessarily need something this big, because I just never got it working. And like you said, when you're playing that amp at a low volume, which I do at home, and then you drive it with pedals, it just doesn't sound right. It sounds weird. Like the highs are super high, and it's kind of fizzy if you run an overdrive pedal.
I find unless you crank them, they're really fizzy.
Yeah. So for me, it's about growing up and admitting to the fact that even though my heroes played 65s, that is a good reminder we're probably rebuilt by some of the greatest amp makers on the planet to sound the way they were.
Yeah.
22 watts is just fine for me.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. The speaker box will also have. I honestly think 212s will sound bigger than 410s a lot of the time, especially in an open back box like the Super Reverb has. They've got that open back. You're not going to get. I don't think they're as loud as, say, what other amp can I put it up against? But yeah, I'm just thinking like I know actually Twin's not a good comparison either. But there's just 212s in general. Will probably have a fuller kind of sound to it. The Supers are great amps, but I really don't miss. I miss having mine in just for the bragging rights of owning a super Reverb. But you know, I got sick of carrying it around, and it didn't fit in my car properly. I'd have to lay the seats in the back down, and it was this big drama. So I was like, you know what? That amp down there, that Blues Deluxe, is easily as loud. I reckon it's got more clean headroom with that speaker that I got in there.
Yeah,
much more pedal friendly too.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's much more pedal friendly too.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
What speaker did you put it in, Shane?
I got the Swamp Thing in that one, the Eminence one, and it's a really great Fender sound for that amp, and it just gets loud, stays loud.
I have the same amp with just the stock speaker in it, but it sounds good to me the way it is.
Oh, that's it. I mean, it's just an optional upgrade. It just depends on. It also depends heavily on how loud you run your amps. Like, I reckon there's a big difference between just jamming at home or with friends and then taking it out at gig volume. Gig volume is where
for sure,
certain things in speakers will come to your attention. Either they'll be too toppy or too bottom heavy. You don't notice that so much if you're just playing, you know, like if I was to plug into it now and just jam, any speaker would be fine. But it's when you take it out live, you might go, oh, man, the speaker's really doing this or doing that. Yeah. And that's
here's a question for everybody to kick around, if you would, since we're talking on amplifiers and you get it past the, number 5 and it starts to fizz out or whatever. Did you ever play with the relationship of how much volume you have on your guitar? Because I know a lot of guys will say, I pick up my guitar, I put everything up full, and I play with my amp with it from there. But if you've got a lot of sound, sound going from your pickups into your amp, can you get to the point where you're starting to, overwhelm your amp and you get to the point where it's not making the sound that you want? So my question is that if you've got your amp on 5 and it's great, you turn it up to 6 or 7 and all of a sudden it's just not what you want. Have you ever experimented with just turning the volume on your guitar down to see what that does with that relationship?
Well, I think the thing like with tube overdrive, when you get an amp into a sweet spot, it's just to the point of breakup for me is where it sounds amazing.
Yeah, I think most people feel that way.
Yeah, and I think the moment you realize that the knobs on your guitar actually turn,
it's sort of a function.
and no matter how many times you've watched Spinal Tap, they will not go to 11. You can turn them down; it's okay. I think for me, my Strats when I play them. I turn the tone down at least to 7, just to cut the edge off of it a little bit. Yeah. Unless I'm going crazy Texas blues and you want that high end. But, like Shane was saying, when you play at gig volumes and you're playing at 4 or 5, the difference between an efficient speaker and a Fender special designed Eminence speaker, which is just it was a dud at the Eminence factory, so they threw a Fender sticker on it and put it
there you go.
They sound great. Like Shane said, when you're playing in a house or you're playing at home volumes, things are fine, but the efficiency you really notice when you start cranking.
Yeah. The thing with the Blues Deluxe speaker, actually that speaker in a Blues Deluxe, not so much the Blues Deluxe speaker, because in other amps it can sound fine. Once you really if you turn that amp up to 4, and take about 5 or 6 steps back from the amp, so you're in front of it, listening back at it. Listen to what it does to the high end. It'll be really, really bright and really, really boomy, and you can kind of almost dial the bass all the way out, and it will probably still have too much low end. They're an odd speaker. They sound phenomenal if you're in the shop and you plug in. They're great if you're playing at home. I've recorded with the stock speaker at normal volumes for clean, and they're great as well. But yeah, there's something about when you play live at that volume, it changes everything about the speaker. It either can't handle.
Yeah.
Another thing about speakers too is a lot of them will break up before the amp will break up. So you're getting less volume and less headroom. So there's a thing with valve amps or any amp where the speaker is part of its sound when it breaks up. This particular speaker doesn't really break up easily. So yeah, it gives you a much more amp tone, in my opinion, than the speaker influencing the amount of dirt you're getting. At least that's one thing I've noticed over the years anyway.
Yeah, I have one of those speakers in a pine cab, a handmade pine cab, and it's a great speaker.
The Swamp Thing or the... Yeah. Oh, they're great.
You like the Texas Heat ones too, don't you, Shane?
Yeah, I reckon they're awesome. It's one or the other for me. Like I've got the Swamp Thing in the Blues Deluxe, and for amps like the Peavey Bandit, or the Mustang amps and stuff like that, the Texas Heat, to my ear, sounded better in those amps. It kind of rolls out a little bit of extra tops. The Swamp Thing's more of your typical top end sort of thing. The Swamp Thing just makes everything sound fat. And Landon bought one. Is Landon still here? No, he just jumped off. Landon got one recently, and they're great, and they're loud too. So you get the best of both worlds. Just a different sort of sound. If I was to get a 2x12 cab, I'd probably put a Texas Heat and a Swamp Thing in one. And no joke, I reckon that would be just killer combination. It would weigh a lot, but it'd be awesome.
I've seen that where guys will put one of each in a cabinet.
Yeah.
Just to get that balance. But, and you said that about Fender amps. Like the first thing you do with a super reverb when you get to a gig is turn the bass down. It's like how boomy it gets. It's like as soon as you get that volume over 4, the bass needs to be a 3 or lower, or else the sound guy is going to be cursing at you.
Yeah. I think Matt Schofield did this. I think it was Matt Schofield did a video on YouTube. He was saying that every guitar player uses way too much bottom end.
Yeah, that was Matt. Yeah.
It's a really interesting video. Was that on the Pedal Show maybe, or was that?
Yeah, I think it was.
Video? Yeah, that was actually really good. They he was saying like I think it was him. He sort of said you can just turn it on until you feel it come in and then stop. You don't need to use any more. And that's an interesting way of looking at it. But it all depends on what volumes you're playing at as well. Like I said, you probably turn the bass up more if you're just playing at home. But
if you're playing at home,
I learned a lot. I don't gig, so knowing, because like I said, I got this 50 watt amp, and there's no way in hell I'm turning it up. It's way too loud. So all these nuances that you guys are talking about when you're playing live and mixing with other people, that's the stuff that really never really thought about. It's never been in my wheelhouse because obviously I haven't played live. Yeah. It's interesting to know and interesting to learn what these amps and what speakers do, how they react to the volume and what you're pushing in them. So
I think that's maybe one of the small differences between like what I do and other YouTube channels. I'll still play live. I play live like every other week, and I'm not belittling the guys that don't, but there's something to be said for demoing something at home and then not really testing it out and seeing how it responds in an actual live situation. I think that if you've got that perspective of years of experience playing live and knowing how things work and changing speakers and seeing the results, or even just pedals live or guitars or whatever, it's a different way of looking at it. And so it's good for me to be able to sort of give people like some sort of live context use as well. Even I might not be playing the biggest gigs in the world or whatever, but
but you're out there gigging. And
it's a different way of looking at it.
Yeah. Because that's what we aspire to do, even though we may not get there all of a sudden by all this gear and stuff. Yeah, in my head, I'm up there just jamming in front of hundreds of thousands of people. In reality, I'm at work throwing bags.
I reckon everyone who plays guitar should go to a blues jam or an open mic night and just jump in and play. That's how it started for me. Like I was nowhere near ready to do it when I first played live. I was scared. I was just crap on guitar. I knew one riff, right, and it was this, and I knew it in one. I knew it in one key. This is the only one that I could play. That was it, right? That's all I knew. And the guys at the jam said, "All right, we'll play that." And I was like, "Oh, all right." And then the second song, I basically played the same thing again. But it was like, oh, okay. So most people who haven't played live assume like everyone's going to ridicule them if you go to play out live at a jam or whatever.
Yeah.
But they don't. They're pretty encouraging a lot of the time. You get your weird clicks at some jam nights, but you know, if you're new to it, it's the best thing you can do. It really puts into perspective a lot of things about where you are musically, what you need to work on. My suggestion also is if you haven't played out live at all and you go do it, film it. Ask someone to film a song for you or something, just to have a frame of reference. Because then when you look back at that in like 6 months, you'll go, oh wow, look how much more I've learned, how much more comfortable I am, all that kind of stuff. And I did that all the time. Like I always had like a mini disc recorder or a little video camera set up back in the old days, and whatever, just so I could have some frame of reference of what was going on, and then I could go, okay, well, I played that every song. I'm still doing that now, but I was playing that every song. So stop, you know, ending your songs with this lick. I did it time and time again. So
like I don't know if it's a common thing, but when I go up on stage, I just blank out. I just play. Yeah, and then I get off stage at the end of the night, and I really don't remember much of what just happened. It's just,
that's a good thing.
It's got the zone.
If you got a good band around you, like Rick pointed this out the other night, sometimes you just get in. It's like, what was the word he used? It's basically like it triggers this thing where everyone's just like in the moment kind of thing.
Yeah,
and you're just enjoying it and responding to it as opposed to thinking about it too much. And I think that's a thing that just takes years to kind of get to. And it also obviously heavily revolves around who you're playing with. The best times that I've played, or the most memorable times, are those times where, you know, you're not looking at the bass player wondering what are you doing, you know, or why are you doing drum fills on the vocals, you know, like there's times where the band's just on it and they know what they're doing and it sounds great and feels good.
Damn bass players.
But that can happen at jams too. You know, a lot of people think, jam nights aren't very good, but the jam night I go to, we got Dr. Rick, we got Ryan, a whole lot of really great players that go up there, like much better guitar players than me, and great drummers and bass players. So those moments can happen at a jam, and that's what keeps you interested in going to play live just for that moment. If it happens once a month or once every 3 months, it's worth 9 really bad jams to have a really good one.
You know, finding a good jam is like going to school. If you've got that opportunity to go and play with a load of really talented musicians that are welcoming and don't look at you like you're the redheaded stepchild.
Yeah.
You know, like they don't have that, like you said, they don't have that click. If you can work with some really great musicians, it's amazing how much you can learn in one night standing on the stage, just playing off of each other. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the chords I learned. Right back. Okay. Cool, Jamal. Take it easy, man. Thanks for hanging out with us. Good to chat to you again. It's been ages.
Jamal looked like he was having his own personal earthquake there.
Well, he's in. Where's he in Texas, isn't he? So hopefully there's no hurricanes going on there. It's probably
doesn't he work in an airport or something or other?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. But what were you saying just before? About playing with better musos. You'll pick up chords that you've never looked at before or thought about. And
absolutely.
How to play. This is the confusing thing, though, that always gets me. I know guys that have been jamming for 20 years and they still haven't expanded their chord library. They still haven't expanded they don't ask questions. And they probably should be asking questions, or they're probably too scared to ask questions sometimes as well. So you get this huge mix of musicians, but, you know, even if there's 5 great players in a room, it makes the jam so much better because the overall standard's going to be good. They can, you know, people can be spread out through various sets. And it is a really great learning experience to just jump in and play. And I love doing that. It doesn't matter where I go. If I've got a guitar, you know, if I'm in Florida, I'll go take a guitar down to a local jam night and just jump in and play. And there's some of the best moments I've ever had, you know, playing, especially in Chicago and San Francisco, all these other places, as well as in Melbourne here as well. So Thomas K just said, what do you think? So he's asking, what's the loudest decibel gig that I've probably played? I've seen jam nights go up to about 110, which is extremely loud. And that's with a mobile phone app. So I don't know how accurate that is, but if anyone else has any info on accuracy of how
I've never measured.
Yeah.
I never measured. Probably the loudest I've ever been on stage. The last gig I did, the last song of the night by the last band. So our band was sandwiched in the middle of the opening act and the closing act. And the closing act asked me to go up on stage and play the last song of the night, which was Jimi Hendrix, Hear My Train A-Comin'.
Oh, cool.
And he just said that the sound guy would not allow me to go above 3.5 on my super. But the lead singer of the band said, when you come up on stage, just crank the volume up to 5 and we'll go from there. I'm like, okay. And that was probably the loudest I've ever played. I remember walking off stage that night and I could hardly hear anything because I was standing right next to my amp. And instead of being a smart guy, I didn't have it pointed at the wall. It was pointed right at me. So,
oh man, yeah.
It took a couple of days for the hearing to come back.
Spent a couple of days walking around saying, what?
There was a lot of that. Feeling like I was walking underwater.
I can highly recommend it. Anyone who goes to jam nights, or if you haven't been, take some earplugs with you. Just not for necessarily if you play, but just for sitting there listening. I won't go unless I've got them now. I have them in all night unless I'm playing, and then I take them out and then I put them straight back in.
That's smart.
Yeah. All right, we've got Zach. I think.
I
Yeah.
did something. Hey.
Is your? I don't know if your camera's working, man.
My camera.
Technical difficulty.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll just mute you for a sec, Zach. If your webcam kicks in, just I'll go back over to you. But welcome, mate. So yeah, these sort of Google Hangouts can be a little bit, or YouTube Hangouts now they're called, even though it still says Google, is sometimes a little problematic. So hang in there and just make sure if you got headphones on, man. I appreciate that.
It's weird because it's Google Hangouts, but I'm watching this on Google Chrome.
Yeah, also that's the browser, but like anyway, I think the tech part of it has still got Google in its, or it used to have the watermark of Google on the screen. I don't know if it does that still or not.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it on my end.
Yeah. Oh, maybe they got rid of it finally. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's on the actual live. It's on the live video, so it still says Google.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's one of those things. So yeah,
I think it's my camera.
If you are enjoying the live stream, guys, please give it a thumbs up. We got half the amount of likes as per the people watching, so it's always cool. And we'll try and do more of these coming up. It's, great to talk to everyone again. It's been good. Well, I'm not cancelling it right now, by the way. We've still got about 30 minutes left. But
did I miss all the conversation about Gibson?
We haven't. Yeah, you might have bring it up.
I haven't even touched that one.
I was wondering if we should get into some of that or not. I had a lot of people say, "How come you haven't posted a video about it?" I'm like, "Oh man, I don't know if I've got anything to add. Nor am I a business expert, like a lot of guys that do gear demos seem to think they are."
Oh, my camera.
So,
that's what they said.
yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to say anything about it this time.
I don't know.
We can have a chat about it if you want. So let's just see if Zach's mic's back or camera. You there, Zach? No.
Settings.
All right. Sorry, guys.
It just does seem a shame that a company, with the historical background of Gibson just seems to be floundering.
Yeah.
It's funny when their CEO saved them. I mean, when he took that business over in '83, I think it was. They were on the brink of, not existing anymore.
They're on the brink of what? They're on the brink of again?
Yeah. And he brought it back, that they were making guitars out of wood that shouldn't have ever been put into a guitar, and they all weighed more than anything that should ever be thrown over your shoulder. And he saved them, and now they're selling $5,000 Les Pauls that are painted like a 1979 Chevy van. And blaming music stores for their declining sales.
Meanwhile, the Sunburst vans are doing well.
The Sunburst vans are doing excellent.
Yeah. One of the things that Gibson don't do, they don't appeal to everybody's price. Like everyone wants to spend a different amount on a guitar. I mentioned this to like Tone King did a video about this the other day. I was on his live stream, just in the comment section, and I sort of said, they should outsource to Japan a series of guitars and have them made there like Tokai, because then no one would probably buy Tokai stuff if it was made by Tokai. Well, thanks, Siri. No, it was outsourced to them. They'd have the quality control and all the high standards that the Japanese have when it comes to building at least those particular guitars. Like I love mine.
Well, both the Orville guitars by Gibson, they were Japanese, weren't they? They were good quality guitars.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of really great guitars coming out of Japan, and I think like even Fender used them for stuff. At least we get a lot of that range here in Australia.
See the odd one over here.
What was that? Sorry,
I said you see the odd Japanese, like a '62 reissue Strat or something like that. You see them every once in a while over here.
I just think they need to, if they're going to drop they can't probably, I don't know if they can drop the price on their US made ones, but if they at least offered something in between, maybe the Epiphone range and some of the higher end stuff, that would be a really smart move. And I think they got the studio stuff, obviously, but that doesn't tick a lot of boxes for some people. Some people want to spend, they want to spend less or they want to spend more. Fender kind of had something for everybody price-wise, and maybe that would be a cool thing for Gibson to have that sort of middle ground Les Paul. That the quality is going to be good. They're going to look the same. So
I bought a Les Paul Custom in 2010, and it was $4,000. The same guitar now is $5,500 plus tax.
Oh man!
Yeah. Well,
it's almost like they price themselves right out of the market.
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
I was gonna say my tribute, for $900, I think I got a pretty good guitar.
Yeah,
those were great guitars.
And it's funny because I guess from where I look at it, I've always known. I looked at Epiphone as like the training Les Paul. Gibson. Because I think about that because I was watching the Tone King last night. He was discussing this. I was thinking, well, when it comes to like a lower end affordable model Gibson, I think they're kind of hitting where they're hitting. I think they're like this year's models. They're kind of hitting the price point, especially since they have all these lefty models that are available for everybody. But it was like, who are you buying a guitar for? Is it for a kid who's just learning? Or, oh my goodness. Or is it
Say excuse yourself.
No. But is it for someone who's just beginning? Because obviously nobody's gonna buy a kid a $2,000 Les Paul if they're just starting out with, I look at Epiphone as fulfilling that piece of the market, because I know that when I was time for me to get a Gibson, I want an American-made Gibson. And even though knowing as me being 44 years old that when it comes to the be all end of it all, if it feels comfortable in your hand and you play it and you enjoy playing it, it doesn't matter what it says on the headstock.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
What's funny about the whole Gibson thing is that they sort of treat every factory that they got in the U.S. as a different sort of company. So you've got Montana making the acoustics, and you've got Nashville making Les Pauls, and then you've got Memphis making the ES and the historical bodies. All three of those companies are profitable. They're making money. Where they're just completely slamming their faces against the wall is, I don't know if anybody saw, but last year they introduced these monitor speakers for studios.
No, I didn't see that at all.
These monitor speakers had a flamed maple cap on the front, and they were sunburst like a Les Paul. Cost a few $1,000s.
What are they doing?
Think about the amount of money that went into the R&D on that one, and then bringing that product to market. So you've built that product, you've got the overhead of that, and then you sell probably 5 sets, because who wants Les Paul looking monitors, although they might be cool. I think you look at Fender, and the best example is Shane's white Strat. You look at that Strat, and you don't tell somebody that it was made in Mexico, And based off of the logo, it could be a 65 reissue, as far as you know. It's got a urethane gloss headstock on it. It's got the 65, 66 logo on it. It's a good guitar. It's got a great build quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's got a premium sound, yeah.
And even the Squier stuff, like you pick up a Squier guitar these days, even Epiphone is a good example as well. Like they're not what they were 20 years ago. They make them.
I like Epiphone stuff.
What did you just have in your hand, Shane? Before that, this guitar?
All right, so that was the Japanese Tokai guitar. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I was just going to say, like this particular guitar in Australia, if you were to buy this retail with the street price, you'd pay like $1,700 for something like this. And this is spot on. Like I've owned a custom shop Les Paul. You know, visually, feel wise in the hand, it feels identical. And the everything about this is great. You know what I've done to this guitar? Nothing. I've not touched a thing. I've not had to adjust the neck. I've not had to do. I think I sprayed the switch because I didn't play it for a while. That was it. Yeah, and like to get this same guitar in a Gibson in Australia would be $4,000, at least $4,000. At least $4,000.
You know what's funny is that if you find Tokais here selling, like I saw one the other day, and it was a gold top Tokai, and it was selling for like $1,600, which is essentially what a Les Paul traditional, like a year-old Les Paul traditional, is selling on these secondhand sites. Like the Tokais are almost more sought after now than those entry-level Gibsons, which is a testament to the build quality coming out of Japan.
Oh, that's what I was getting at before. So I really thought, like, if Gibson made a range of guitars priced exactly the same as these, made in Japan, just as not to replace anything they're currently doing, right? But just as an option. Yep. This would fill that market. People who love Japanese guitars can go, I can get a Gibson one now. Like, that would be cool. And, you know, I think while Japanese guitars might not be huge everywhere, I think they're definitely, you know, they're getting a lot of positive. I don't know anyone that has really, I haven't read a whole lot of unfavorable reviews of Japanese guitars or seen them.
Funny the Gibson Faded Tees. Anybody ever play them?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I was going to get one.
I hated it.
Really? Well,
I absolutely hate
Guitar Center. It's not set up right. And then I looked at the. They had a used Epiphone standard. I think the same one that you did a review on, Shane. I went up getting that. That thing was it was like 6 years old, but it was set up beautifully. It was in great shape, and I saved a little bit of money, and it plays great.
That Faded T was the only guitar I ever brought back.
Really?
Yeah.
I think what's funny is that when you live in Canada and the U.S., you have this belief that, and sorry, my little guy's having a moment. You have this belief. You have this belief that unless something's made in America, it's you almost like it's a Mexican Strat. Oh, it's a Japanese Strat.
There's that sort of stigma here.
And we forget that the majority of the world's population doesn't live in Canada and the U.S. Believe it or not. And when you got markets like Australia, where the import taxes and price exchange, like you look at a $2,000 guitar here. I remember when you did the video, Shane, about was it the Fender?
Yeah, Fender
guitars and the conversion rate, and how like that guitar was $1,600 in the U.S. and in Australia it was like $3,000 or something crazy like that. Yeah, you know, it's like
plus the cost of freight.
Plus the cost of freight. So you take that same guitar, built probably in a better facility in Japan, likely even better quality, and sell it in Australia for probably $1,500 less or $1,000 less.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
That whole bottom line issue about being in the red suddenly disappears when you start selling, 500,000 more instruments every year because you've opened yourself up to a market that can now afford them.
Well, that's exactly right. Not everyone wants to or can spend just generically speaking, $2,000 to $4,000, depending on where you live on a guitar. I mean, the Made in America thing means a lot to people if it's built well and it's reliable and all that. Like I still think, if I've got something made in the States, I'm like, oh, this is great. I've still got, my Tele down here, but I've learned over the years that a lot of the other guitars that I kind of dismissed are just as good, but they're not made there, or they can be even better in some cases too. So if they're meeting their own standards build quality wise, then I don't think, if it would do well if, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but if the American made stuff is built like you would expect, they wouldn't have a problem, but the price is still a problem. So they need to cater to everybody in the market.
Yeah, and I think, like, you think back to the $500,000 Gibsons that are selling now, like the 59 bursts. Those guitars were built with wood that was 150 years old, right? And that wood ran out by the late 60s. The wood that they're using now, like they come out with all these features of the standard Les Paul, you know, the chambering to make them lighter. They're doing that because they have to, because if they didn't, it would weigh as much as a 72 Les Paul Custom. Because the wood is just, it hasn't aged. There's still a pile of moisture in it, and it weighs a ton. So it's not just a business thing. It's a reality of where we are, you know, baking maple and building fretboards out of baked maple instead of ebony or rosewood. They've sort of been faced with these things that it's either we do this or we don't do business. And I think purists that can actually afford, you know, a $12,000 Birdland reissue will continue to buy those, but the average Joe is not gonna go pay a $500 or $600 premium on the guitar that cost that much less 2 years ago.
Do you think that someone's actually on the let's refer to this person as on the road? Okay, you know, a gigging professional. You know, maybe he's a real high end. You know, everybody. You know, maybe he's the Rolling Stones, or maybe he's just you know, Joe and the Schmoes. But they're out, you know, on the road making a living. Do you think that person is actually buying that guitar at that price level?
If you go to a gig and you see like the average gigging musician play, they're not playing $6,000 Les Pauls. They're playing Les Paul Studios or Les Paul Juniors. You know, they're playing what they can afford.
I'm not bringing my custom to a bird gig.
Yeah,
it costs too much.
Yeah, you know, it would seem that the people who are going to pay that kind of money for that guitar, and God bless them, if you can stick your hand in your pocket and come out with that kind of change, God bless you. I mean, I wish I was that guy.
Unless you're Dr. Rick. If you're Dr. Rick.
There's exceptions there.
My wife almost threw me out of the house when I got that American Deluxe Strat. That was only 14. I mean, you know, and that's a lot to me. But it is the best guitar I have out of the four.
The most expensive one I have is a Fender Strat Eric Clapton signature copy. It's a copy. It's the team belt one. It's not the custom shop belt one. But at that, I paid $1,600 for it. And my wife was with me when I bought it, and she was like, "No, this is your retirement present. You go right ahead."
Well, there you go.
Well, thank you, dear.
See, that's what I did. I got it for my retirement. I got a couple more years yet. But she flipped out, but she's all right now.
The Clapton Strat, the Artist Series Clapton Strat is a great guitar. I have one too. It came with the noiseless pickups, Fender noiseless, but I changed them out to make it more 80s, and I put 3 gold lace sensors in it.
Oh, there you go.
But the pickups that were in it were great.
I've seen pictures of Clapton with one of his Strats with lace sensors in it.
Yeah, originally it was.
Yeah,
that's what he used to play up until '99, I think. '99 or 2000 is when they finally switched out.
Even Buddy Guy also used them for a long time. What difference did you hear between the lace sensors and the noiseless?
Just lace sensors were a little bit more, what should I say, authentic sounding to Fender's pickups. Yeah. I find lace sensors, when it comes to a noiseless type, a little closer to the Fender sound than a noiseless pickup. Although I like the noiseless, they get a bad rap, but I find them good. I have no issues with them.
Yeah, they've gotten better over the years too. I mean, I had 3 different sets over the years, and 2 of them I didn't like. One I liked a lot. So, and I think the newest ones that they've come out with now are supposedly pretty good too. So,
the Generation 4 ones.
Yeah, the N4s. I actually played. I think it's the American Elites that have those in them, and they modeled them after, like, they basically had baseline pickup sets, like a 54 set, and a 65, and a 59. They basically, you know, measured them against that And you can tell when you play one of those new guitars with the new noiseless, they actually sound like what a single coil pickup is supposed to sound like. They don't sound oddly compressed or missing top end or anything like that.
Now, wouldn't it be nice if you've had your hands on enough guitars to at least form an opinion, not to be that you're the most expert person in the world? Wouldn't it be nice to have the guitar that you could actually, if I could sit down and have this guitar made this particular way with this neck and this fretboard on it, or I don't want it a 9.5, I want it a 12 or something. If you could sit down, let's just pick two guitars. Let's just say if you could buy a Strat or a Telecaster, what would be the perfect one of those for you?
I've owned both.
A great lightweight ash body.
Strat all the way.
Yeah, I'd like a nice lightweight ash body with maybe a compound radius fretboard, because I wouldn't want them choking out on me. So I think that would be medium jumbo frets, a maple neck.
One thing that is sort of traditional on guitars, and I'm disappointed not to see it on newer versions, is the vintage style tuners.
Yes.
With the slot that you stick you cut your string and you stick it in and turn around and it just works. You never have any sharp edges sticking you on the edge. You pick the guitar up, the next thing you know, you're bleeding.
It was the single best tuning peg design ever created, and they stopped putting them on any guitar unless it's a vintage.
He's got them on his guitar. I have them on a couple of my Strats, a couple of my Fenders too. Yeah. And I really wish that I could get a modern neck, with the truss rod adjustment all the way at the headstock, not back at the heel.
Yeah,
with a 9.5 or a 10 radius fretboard on it, but with the vintage tuning heads on them, because they just work so much better. I had one Strat that had the locking tuners on it. It would just break strings on me.
Oh wow, okay.
I don't have that problem.
I don't had that either.
I don't know if I was putting 9s on it at the time. Well, that's what it came with.
That's what I'm using.
They would break just about a quarter of an inch away from where it went into the tuning head. So I was just
always the same string.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was either the two higher strings. So I mean, they're the thinnest ones. They're the ones that are going to take the least amount of abuse, without a doubt.
That could have been a nut, though. Yeah,
could have been a number of things, but it was just weird because my vintage tuners, it took me a little bit of time to get the hang of putting the thinner ones on without them popping all over the place. And as a matter of fact, I think one of the very first videos I saw from Shane was him doing a thing on that. And I was like, oh, cool. That seems to work. And these days when I change strings, it's like, it's on, and it's funny how it went from like a complete mystery. Like, what were they thinking, to like, oh, I perfectly get it. And this is what I prefer. So it's just a shame. My point here is it's just a shame that I can't find the neck made by Fender. Maybe you can go up to Warmouth in someplace and get them to make you, some special whiz bang thing with the Kung Fu grip, but I would just like to be able to get that particular neck on the body that I would like to see without having.
The guitar that you described is an Eric Johnson Fender Strat, minus the truss rod adjustment. I think the truss rod adjustment on the Eric Johnson necks is still down by the pickups.
My 50s Classic has it there, and it's just a pain in the neck to have to take the neck off.
It's a huge pain.
With the truck rod. Yeah. You know what? You live in an environment like I do. You got 4 distinct seasons. Yeah. And I have 4 distinct neck shapes on my guitar, depending on if it's bone dry winter or if it's a humid summer. Yeah. And I'm handy enough to just be able to say, okay, it's got a little too much backbone and it's a little too straight. And I have the time and the inclination to just sit there and fuss with it until it's either in spec or feels right in my hand.
Yeah.
I think the classic vibe Fenders still have the vintage tuners. I know I have a couple that got that vintage tuner.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't see them you usually don't see them on the higher end Fenders, unless it's like Shane's there. It's like the 52 reissue or something like that, where they've actually chased that particular.
Or the artist ones.
when I first got this guitar, I hated the tuners. I was like, man, I called my friend Rick. I was like, dude, what's the deal with these tuners? I can't work them out. He's like, trust me, once I show you how to do this, they're like the easiest thing in the world. So to replace the string, it's so much quicker. You can literally almost just pull it out once you unwind it a little bit. So it saves time.
Take it off it, yeah.
Yeah. One other thing I think all guitar companies should start doing is stainless steel frets. I put stainless steel frets in this. And this has become like something I'll play until the end now. Like the vintage frets lasted a few years of solid use. Stainless steel frets should just be in all good guitars. They should just put them in. They won't wear. You don't need it to do as the fret dressing and all that kind of stuff, or not as often by any.
Everything's built to a price though.
Yeah,
and you go putting stainless steel frets in a guitar that's entry level and it's going to be cheap. Then you're going to have, you're going to jack up the price.
Oh, sorry. I probably meant more along the lines of, like American standard stuff. Yeah. I don't know how much stainless the actual fret cost is. I have no idea on that. So if someone's a luthier and you're watching this back, let me know. But can it be that much more expensive? That's, I guess, the question. I don't know.
So I had a fret job done on my old Strat back in the summertime, and the price difference between doing stainless and doing just regular jumbo frets was it was about $50.
And not much.
And I think the reason why that price difference exists is less about material costs and more about wear and tear on the guy's tools, because stainless steel is a hell of a lot tougher a material to deal with than soft fret wire.
Can wreck some of their stuff.
Yeah. So it's a whole different kettle of fish for them. So that's usually where the price difference comes into place. But you're so right. I mean, when you're building mass producing, like the new American Original Series guitars, and you're already not, you're not dedicated to a fault to history. You're putting a vintage tall fret in, so it's not a vintage fret.
Yeah.
So you make that stainless, and that guy's not going to have to refret that 57 or that 50s style Strat or Tele with the maple board, which is going to cost you more anyways.
And I mean, look at some of the high end Fender stuff. It's comparable price wise to Sir, and Sir put it in already straight off the shelf. You never have to get a fret job done. It's just like
but that sort of stuff too, with guitarists being the fickle characters that they are. Think about it. We come up with all these better ideas of how to have a more comfortable neck joint, different way of doing tuners, blah blah blah, whatever else, pick up technology. But when it comes that they want to have the vintage stuff, they want it correct, and that's why you got your Eric Johnson adjusting your truss rod at the body end, because they're just trying to, there'll be that one guy that says, but the original was like this, and even if the original's killing you, that's how they want it.
I don't think there'd be. Here's a question for everyone in the chat: if someone, or even on the panel here, is there anyone that would prefer vintage frets over either medium jumbos or stainless steel, even if it's not
medium?
Sorry,
I prefer medium jumbo.
Yeah, or medium jumbo. So what I'm saying is there anyone that would actually take a guitar with vintage style frets over anything else that's available?
I played one of those Jimi Hendrix Monterey Strat guitars that their Fender's doing right now, or they did up until December.
Yeah,
I played one about 3 weeks ago, and it has a vintage radius. So it's got a 7 1/4 inch radius, and it's got vintage frets on. And I've got Dunlop like 6105s on my One American Standard, and it was like almost impossible to play. It was like taking those strings and grinding them on sandpaper instead of playing how I would normally play. Or it's like, this is a whole lot more difficult than I remember it being.
And that's the one thing about that 50s vintage American one, small frets that won't last. I know as soon as if I buy that or someone buys that, if you play it a lot, they don't last. They just, it's another 400. Well, to get a fret job done here with stainless steel is $400. If you take it to someone who's good. So, it's one of those things where that's another cost I'm going to have to add. It plays okay, but would I take that over the frets I've got on my Mexican Strat? No.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. The company I work for, I had a meeting this week, and one of there was a PowerPoint of which there's usually many, and one of the slides it had a quote from our CEO from back in the '80s, and basically it was saying you have to have a certain amount of disrespect for the past in order to have the proper respect for the future. And I think Gibson and Fender could probably use a little bit of that thinking. You know, just because we've done it this way for 60 years doesn't mean we've been doing it right.
Did you see that interview with Hartley Peavey that Lewis did, the Tone King?
No.
Yeah.
All right, he interviewed Hartley Peavey. It's really, really great, actually. Like, he was saying, like, we try to innovate every year as opposed to just, like, reissuing the same things every year, claiming it's a new idea. Like, I thought that was he basically said my competitors, meaning everybody else, basically, like Gibson, Fender, whatever. It's a really good interview. He kind of looks at, like, how to move forward as opposed to just doing,
he acted like he was insulted a little bit when he's talking about vintage stuff.
Yeah.
But it's funny because it's a double-edged sword. And I think that let's just say the two bigger companies, which to me, maybe I'm wrong, which to me is Fender and Gibson, and probably Gibson more so than Fender. But when they try to go outside, when they try and color outside the lines for any reason, especially folks who are like Gibson fanatics, they like go positively apoplectic. That they went away from the standard Les Paul.
Yep.
Well, yeah, but that was that was a mistake.
He said 2015, people lose their mind. They're like, what's this robot? They didn't like the signature.
Yeah, if they came out and they said, listen, guys, we realize that for the last 60 years we've been making guitars with less than a 25-inch scale length. And apparently there's a rumor flying around that 2 of the strings will just never stay in tune. So what we've decided to do is elongate that scale length on a specific model. And you know what? It's not going to be traditional. The neck's going to be a little bit longer. The scale length is a little bit longer. But guess what? Those 2 little strings that the rumor has it go out of tune often now stay in tune. That would have been like, you know what? That's a good idea. Instead, we got robot tuners.
But you make a great point, Pat, because if you can sit there and improve the faults of a design, and still keep a traditional shape, and create a guitar that the flaws are removed, then you're gonna now it might some people will stick their nose at it, but people that play, especially people who play for a living, will see the repair that they've done, and it's like, hey, maybe these guys are onto something. I mean, I've always felt that Gibson, they have their faults. We all know they have their faults, but I think, like, for me, being a left-handed guitar, quote-unquote guitarist, the fact that, that they've made I get the Instagram post from Southpaw Guitars. They got lefty Explorers. They got lefty Flying Vs. I'm just like, this is the year of the lefty. I mean, I love Gibson.
Good time.
I'm so happy.
A lot of that short run stuff, though, too.
Yeah.
But I mean, the fact that it's out there, I think, like my little tribute. I know that it's out there, it's floating out there. And, there might be a lot of them. Somebody might get tired of it, and it'll come back. It'll be out there.
But I think it's Fender that claims that they are the most left-handed friendly guitar company.
They are.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
you wouldn't know
quite a bit now.
Guitar Center.
Oh, yeah. No, you're right about that.
Let's go over to the lefty zone. Oh, look,
so, Jamal, are you looking for left-handed robot tuners?
No. Well, actually, to tell you the truth, when I was looking at buying that tribute, I was going to get the HP model with the robot tuners and I think the little chrome all over it. And I was just sitting there thinking, the main choice was, okay, is this going to be the last Gibson I ever get? If it was, then I'll get it. I'm going to try the lower end model, and if I like it, maybe I'm making a small investment, which is $900. Maybe not small to some people. It really isn't small, but
no, it's not.
I'm sticking my foot in the door, so to speak, and we'll see how it goes.
I got a question for you, Jamal. Is that locker behind you yours, the one with the Fender stickers?
Oh yeah, that's my life. Yeah.
Gee, what was the giveaway?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll tell you what I've hated about the Gibsons I own. This the fret binding. I hate it because the strings are always popping off fingerboard. It's always like they have them too close. I don't know why. When they took that off, people complained, but I prefer having more fret. I think the Eppies have an advantage over the Gibsons when it comes to that.
See,
I've never.
I found that with some Gibsons. Then that's just for me. It's been nut with like you play some of the old slim '60s necks, and I can't play the high E because it just falls off the style I play. But if you play an SG, the net width is a lot wider, and it's fine.
I thought it was just me because I didn't know how to play.
You're not alone. Don't feel bad on that.
You're not alone with that not playing thing.
I had a Schecter and a Jackson that did that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I hate it.
I got a real quick question. Rod Chapman guitars. Anybody ever play any of them? Guitar Center is carrying them now.
Yeah, they're going to be in Houston on the 17th, 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, I'm thinking about they have their bottom line. I guess the modern MD1 or something. It's like $400. It looks really nice. I don't know. I can afford something like that. I thought about getting.
I was never big on the design. I was never big on the design of them.
Yeah, they strike me as more like geared towards kind of like metal players. Most of their stuff, and I mean, not to belittle them or anything, but a lot of their guitars aren't really. They've reinvented the wheel. Like they've got a Strat, a Tele, a Fine. Some of those other models aren't that like. They're not really new. No, they're just sort of like very heavily inspired by all the classics. That's it. The only ones I played. Oh, exactly. No, you're totally right. Yeah. So I'm like I said, it's just an observation. But yeah, the ones that I picked up were the early models, so the first year ones, and I kid you not, their Telecaster was heavier than my Les Paul, and my Les Paul weighs a lot. It weighs a lot. So supposedly, like the next lot of guitars they had weren't anywhere near as heavy, but they're built well. They feel good in the hand and all that kind of stuff. Visually, for me, they're a little bit too metal. They're the little infinity symbol thing, and it looks like I need to paint my fingernails black if I'm going to play them. But I don't know.
I couldn't agree with you more. Like I dig Rob Chapman and Robert are awesome.
I love
great players.
Great players.
And Danish Pete.
He's Danish.
Pete's
I was chatting with Danish Pete on Instagram the other day.
You guys, I thought you guys were all metal players in here.
Yeah.
No, mental players.
Mental players.
Yeah.
That's about right, John.
I want to go see Chapman and Rabia. Like I said, they're coming here on the 17th of this month.
Cool.
Like around 4 o'clock at one of the guitar centers here. I'm gonna try to make it out there.
It's gonna be packed.
So, I'm sure it will be. I like Rob Chapman. I like his playing. He's a real personable person, in spite of the fact that they're selling. But,
no. I mean, he seems like a nice guy. I don't know about it.
Yeah, he's a real nice guy. But something about Rabia's playing, he does some stuff with his playing. His lines are so quick. It's just like, it really amazes me. Like, the instrumental stuff, I can kind of hit or miss with it. But when he just does demos and when I think he has Musicum, that little music teaching service they have. And I was watching some of the previews for it. I'm just looking at his hands like, gosh, he's got these huge hands, but they move so fast, and I need to really practice.
Like Rob started playing blues, and I think Robert is like classically trained. Like I think they both went to school for theory. Like they went to school in London, and their skill is unbelievable. I'm not a huge fan of some of the stuff that they play, but
I mean, technically wise, and they're very, very talented players. Yeah, absolutely.
Did you all guys have a teaching background in guitar, or were self-taught, or?
Yeah, I'm self-taught.
I had maybe 5 months worth of lessons, and I'm 62, so not much. Actually, they pay me not to come back, but yeah, try.
I had a 1984 Akai CD player, one of the first CD players that came out in North America. My parents' CD player that I sat in front of with Eric Clapton albums and Stevie Ray Vaughan albums, and that's how I learned how to play guitar.
That's cool because you
3 seconds pause.
You guys are younger. You guys are younger, but you like the older. I mean, I'm from the 70s, late 60s, early 70s. I mean, Steve probably can relate to that. All those
60s,
and it's still good. Rolls.
Got you by a few years.
I mean, I'm not complaining. I mean, yeah, but I mean, I love it when all these young people, they love all this older stuff. To me, it's the better music. I don't know nothing new. I like all the classic stuff.
I grew up listening to Elvis and the Traveling Wilburys and Eric Clapton and Stevie Ray Vaughan and the Beatles and Elvis. That's what I cut my teeth on. So,
yeah, Elvis's guitarist in the 70s was James Burton. James was a great player.
Yeah,
James Burton.
Oh, what a
I tell you, what's it? Rock Around the Clock. To me, that's one of the best songs.
Bill Haley,
Bill Haley has the best guitar solos.
Yeah,
I can almost get it.
Who was really good from back in that time too? Who was really good from back in that time too was the Stones.
I love the Stones. I mean,
I got the funny thing is that I remember them clearly because that was the age bracket I was in, and that was my wheelhouse, and I enjoyed them very much. But it's now that I'm really beginning to appreciate Keith Richards. He has such a unique style of playing.
Well, 5 strings.
5 strings. I heard that. The funny thing was I was looking at my guitars the other night, and I realized without consciously doing this, who the 3 guitarists that I liked the most from back in the day, and it was Clapton because I've got my Blackie Strat,
or Derek and the Dominoes when he was with them.
I've got a 50s classic Strat that I just changed just enough to make it look like the Mark Knopfler signature guitar. The red with the
red.
So there was Knopfler and Clapton, and then I've got a Telecaster that I keep almost always all the time in open G tuning because when I pick it up and play it, Keith Richards comes right out of it. It's not me, it's like, it's just that open G tuning, and
do you guys have a YouTube channel and you put videos up besides Shane or?
I don't know. If I did that, I'd be flagged for, abuse of people's ears.
Man, I thought Steve, I thought you had something. Steve, you look familiar like you.
Steve's just done it. I don't think Steve posts any videos, does he?
No, I don't.
I'm wrong. No. Okay, I'm wrong.
I think I'm probably the longest serving member of this board, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've posted the odd video, but nothing consistently, and I think 3 people have seen it. So that's probably the way.
Because again, I got a YouTube channel from doing from whatever before Google had them, and so I got stuff up there from doing computer stuff, whatever, and then I started doing a couple guitar stuff, and I'm getting like donations to take my channel down. But then again,
I just posted a few videos about Facebook.
I'm gonna steal that line. That's awesome.
I get like 10, I got 10 views. I got 10 views in like 8 years on something, and then but then I did one. I had a shirt and I got a little cleavage, and then just
that sounds like a Rodney Day. They paid me to take my website.
I don't get no respect. Yeah,
I don't get my respect.
Guess what, guys? It's over 2 hours. So
all right,
we're gonna.
It just flew by.
12 o'clock.
Well, it was nice meeting everybody.
Yeah,
thanks for joining in.
Good chatting. Yeah.
You know where to find us.
I get paid to sit there being this hangout. That's awesome.
So if anyone else wants to join in, just email me to intheblues@outlook.com and I'll put you on the mailing list. Sorry, Zach, I had to kick you, man. Basically, I was just getting a lot of mic noise, and we would have spent 20 minutes trying to work it out, which isn't good for viewership. So yeah, we'll sort that out for next time. You're not off the list or anything, so I'll get that out to everybody again next time we do this. But yeah, thanks guys. I appreciate you coming in. It was a great hangout today. I was a bit worried it might just be me, but it worked out well.
Good stuff. Enjoy your Saturday.
Yeah, thanks. Have a good night. Cool.
Thanks a lot, Shane. Everybody, good night. And
take care.
Really appreciate you guys are gentlemen and scholars.
All right, take it easy.
Don't spread that rumor. No one All right, guys, be good. Take care.
Yes.